She want to play now, right? Come here, come here. Good girl. Good girl. What you want to do? You want to rub your hair all over me, right? There's a passage in the Bible that says, white hair is a crown of splendor, where it will glory.
From his home in Valdosta, Georgia.
Meaning, be thankful that you live long enough to get white hair, because you could have died a long time ago. You could have been killed a long time ago.
Benny Wilson contacted me after watching the Okeechobee Boys.
The pain is insane level pain.
They were beaten.
You don't know when they're going to stop.
Brutalized.
And if you let them know they hurt you, they'll hurt you again.
Our hour-long special report on the horrors inside Florida's reform schools during the 20th century.
As I heard one of the guys say, and boy, this was a key statement here, that man said,
but all they have to do is say, I'm sorry.
All they had to do was apologize.
When I said I was sorry, it didn't matter. I still had to pay the price.
I said, I'm sorry, I'm still going to be punished.
They still need to pay the price.
Just like Roy Connerly and the rest of these men who call themselves the White House Boys.
You walk in that place and it stunk.
Benny was sentenced to time at the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys in the Florida Panhandle town of Marianna.
This is proof that I was in Marianna.
Oh, it says battery, larceny.
That's right.
And he says he was abused while he was there.
How often did they hit you?
Whenever they felt like you did enough wrong to deserve it. That could be 2 or 3 times a day.
When Benny learned that survivors of abuse at Dozier and the Florida School for Boys at Okeechobee would receive compensation from the state, he obtained his copy of Dozier's ledger with his name on it, filed a claim, and received this denial letter. This outcome does not diminish your experience as a person impacted by the events which took place at the Dozier School for Boys and the Florida Okeechobee School, it says.
But they told me I wasn't qualified.
The bill that created the Victim Compensation Program says men who were at the reform schools between 1940 and 1975 are eligible. Benny was at Dozier in 1976.
How did that make you feel when they told you that?
Cheated. Mistreated. It made me angry, to be honest about it.
What they did to these young men was take their futures away.
Representative Michelle Salzman filed the compensation bill that passed unanimously during the 2024 legislative session.
36 yeas, 0 nays, Madam President.
Joe, the bill passes.
It followed 16 years of failed attempts at similar legislation by other lawmakers.
This was state employees that brutalized children.
In the morning, they pulled me out of bed and took me down to the White House and raped me at 14 years old.
So even if they survived it, they're never the same.
When I first spoke with Salzman back in January, I asked her why 1975 was the cutoff.
That was the way the bill was written in the past, and we didn't get the historical information. We tried really hard. We reached out to a lot of people to try to find out where those numbers came from.
What about 78? What about 79? What about all those other years that went by? And stuff was going on. I can't figure out how they can come to that conclusion.
As we uncovered in our special report, staff continued to use solitary confinement and, quote, force as a first resort, sometimes unprovoked, as recently as 2010. There is evidence that the abuse continued at Dozier and Okeechobee beyond 1975.
It's just bad memories.
James Walker of rural Polk County was sent to the Okeechobee School in 1978.
I try to forget the names. I try to forget it all, but it ain't no forgetting it. And it wasn't right.
Stories like his and Benny's offer one clue as to why the line may have been drawn at 75. Neither of them experienced or witnessed the bloody beatings in a secluded room with a modified paddle in a disturbing ritual described by the men who were at the schools in the 1960s.
I was taken down to the White House and being beat with the leather strap 31 licks by a 6'7", 225-pound gentleman.
So we laid in a prone position. You're going to turn your head to the wall, and you're going to hold on to that rail, and you're not going to let go. And you're not going to scream out. And if you do, we're going to start over.
Was that still going on, the beatings, while you were in Okeechobee?
I didn't see anything, but as far as stuff happening, yeah, because, you know, they showed me, you know, the clinic and the room off to beside the clinic where they said they'd take you in there and straighten you out and all that. And nobody really would say anything about it because they figured, well, you know, if I say something about it, I'm going to be the next one in there. So everybody kept their lips zipped.
Benny says Dozier's infamous White House was no longer used for the beatings by the time he was there.
Man, people didn't wait on you to get in no White House. They'd whip your ass anywhere you go, anywhere you do what was considered wrong.
The physical abuse, these men say, took a different form.
They had big old antennas, radios back then. They had long, big long, big antennas on them. And that man would take that antenna, unscrew it off, and hit you with that antenna.
They also allege rampant sexual abuse.
They would perform sexual acts right in your eyes, right in front of you.
You saw two employees, two adults engaged in sex acts?
No, ma'am, no. It would be a client.
Is a client like a kid there? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
So you would see kids getting molested?
All the time. All the time.
While Benny says he was never sexually assaulted, James says he was by other students.
And next thing I know, the light went out and they shoved me into a room, a little small room, and choked me, started hitting me in the ribs, choked me, and took turns with me, you know, and there wasn't nothing I could do about it, you know.
While an employee was supposed to be keeping watch.
Because they knew he was drunk, so.
And he was supposed to be working.
Oh yeah.
James says the students who raped him were prosecuted.
As far as I know, they accepted a plea bargain.
But he's not aware of any internal investigation or consequences for the state employees who failed to protect him.
He should have been on his job, you know, taking care of us and looking over us, and this would have never happened.
Heartbreak, disappointment. I hate that we weren't able to solve or get justice for everybody all at once.
Attorney Troy Rafferty wrote the victim compensation bill that Salzman filed.
How did you arrive at 1975 as the final year for eligibility?
I didn't arrive at 1975. We determined, based on discussions with all of, you know, as many of the victims as we could, we were going through everything we could, it was determined that that would be the opportunity to get it passed and to help the most victims that we had, that we were aware of at the time.
There's no evidence that the abuse stopped.
No, it didn't stop.
It's my understanding, speaking to multiple people, is that the ritualistic beatings were no longer being done by 1975.
That's also what I'm told.
Rafferty tells me his reasons for keeping the cutoff at 1975 were less tied to what was going on at the schools.
I would have loved for it to have no time restrictions. It's just not a practical reality.
Instead, his reasons were more pragmatic.
Because of the age of these victims and because of some of their health conditions, I mean, these victims were dying. What we wanted to do was make sure we got some form of compensation, some form of justice for them as quickly as possible.
The people who were there after 1975 are younger than the men who were there in 1963.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say
It's
there is
hard.
any hope for these guys to get the recognition?
I always think there's hope. I mean, this looked like a pretty hopeless situation as it was, even for the boys that have been going up there for, many, many years and fighting for this legislation that we just got passed.
Rafferty says there might be other legal avenues for the men who were not eligible for compensation.
We're going to keep fighting for every victim out there.
And any hope for their cause, Rafferty says, relies on them telling their stories.
Once you hear these stories, it can't help but to change you. You can't let it stand. It can't stand.
Why did you decide that it was time to talk about this on camera?
The closure, but I don't know if there won't be no closure. There'll never be closure. It's just something that I'm just gonna have to live with.